come and talk to you today. I was really flattered whenever Missy gave me the call and was like, I want you to come talk. And I was like, okay. And she said, I want you to talk about yourself. And I'm like, that sounds really boring. I don't think I want to do that. And so I thought, I'll talk a little bit about myself, but I wanted to talk more about how we can do business as good Rotarians and how we can shift and actually market as good Rotarians too. So today we're going to talk a lot about the four-way test. So we'll talk a little bit about who I am and the company that I represent, and then we're going to talk about a shift of information, and I'm certain that we're all feeling it. No problem. And then we'll talk about the four-way test for marketing and business and how that can help benefit us as business owners. And then we're going to test some business goals against the four-way test. And then we can also talk about how that is impacting this information shift, how it's impacting businesses in Columbia, and how we actually have a leg up. So first off, this is my crew, right? And the crew isn't just my crew. This is me, in case you don't know. And this is Travis. So Travis is my brother, and Travis actually runs and operates this family-owned business with me called Tranquility Internet Services. I know it's a little confusing, but we have two divisions. Make Create Design is the division that I'm responsible for, and my staff and I create marketing materials for people with this lovely give back mentality. And then Travis, he manages Tranquility Internet Services, which does residential internet for residential and commercial internet for Columbia and surrounding communities. So we think that these two divisions are very synergistic because we work together to connect people in a number of ways. So I promised you I'd talk about this information shift that we're all feeling right now. So this information shift. So at one point in time, before the internet and before cell phones, things kind of ran on what I call island time now, right? And now we're like running East Coast downtown time around rush hour, right? So we're just like running around trying to get stuff done. And it's because time has a different meaning now, right, than it did before. People were okay. And now we have all this technology, all at the palms of our hands, through every remote control. We can click, we can move, we can find things on our cell phones, and it's changing the way that people perceive value. So the way that people are perceiving value is changing the way that we do business. One, successful businesses they're having trouble staying in business because they're having trouble figuring out how to make this shift to this new information age. We have consumers that are less loyal than ever because they can run around and they can just find somebody else at the tip of their finger. Why stay with who I'm with now when I can find somebody who would do it cheaper, right? And then it seems like everybody wants something for nothing, and people expect everything just right now. They don't understand what patience is and how to wait. I feel like everybody's kind of like my 2.5-year-old daughter. She doesn't get it. She's like, we're going on vacation. We're going to the beach. She goes, we go to the beach now. And I'm like, no. In a month, we go to the beach. She's like, no, we go now. And I'm like, never mind, we're just not going to talk about vacation before we're ready to go. So what is perpetuating this shift? What's making this change happen? So one of the reasons that I think we're experiencing this shift of information and this shift of doing business is that marketing and business practices have not met the four-way test. People just are not being nice to one another, and that's just unfortunate. So we're becoming desensitized to marketing. Like people of my generation, and I'm 33 years old, I have been seeing marketing my entire life on the television, listening to it on the radio, seeing it on every billboard, on the side of buses, you see it everywhere. I'm always being marketed to, and I have my entire life. So I just start tuning it out. I'm like, whatever, I'm not going to listen to it. And I think other people are tuning it out too. If your message doesn't have meaning, they don't want to listen to you. And I feel like now, because we've been desensitized, we can smell a lie. I know when you're lying to me in marketing, and so does everybody else. So we shouldn't lie to each other in our marketing. And we don't like to be sold to. We want to connect with people. We want to find value. We want to have a good experience. We don't want people to just feed us full of junk. We don't like that, right? Okay, so the next reason is because the internet has basically told us that we don't have to listen if we don't want to. You just don't have to. You just change the channel, right? You've got a remote, you've got a cell phone, you have the internet. If it's taking too long to load, just go someplace else. You don't have to sit around and wait like you used to. You don't have to get up and do the clicky channel change on the TV. It's painless. You just go someplace else for it, right? So it's backed up our ignoring instincts, this quick pace. And it makes it easy to find information prior to when we buy. So it used to be that whenever you're getting ready to buy something, you would have to call a salesperson. And the salesperson held all the information, and they would give you whatever they wanted to give you so that you would buy from them. And now people come to you, and they already found all this information by themselves online, and they're coming to you literally almost over halfway through their sales process. And they're coming to you as a salesperson, and you don't hold the information anymore, so the buyer has more power. Okay, and then the third and final reason I think that this shift is happening is because we literally have a new generation of consumers, and they make decisions differently. And not only does this new generation make decisions differently, but the previous generation that would be also having a lot of buying power right now, they got hit by this economic downturn, and so they're making decisions differently. And they're really trying to find value and connection in the people that they do business with, because money is not it's not at an excess. You don't just have it floating around. Get it out to what you want, right? And so the new generation of decision makers, they are different. They intake their media differently, so they're just different. I sometimes group myself with them, sometimes I don't. That's what happens when you start working for the family business when you're 25 years old, right? Okay, so consumers are telling us through all this, through this information shift, what they're telling us is they want more. They want more for us. And they want to connect. They want to have value. And they want to be valued. And so we can embrace this shift instead of fighting it and being like, you know what, these kids, right? Because I do that sometimes too. Like those college kids that came back to town, I can't drive anywhere. Okay, so instead of doing that, we can embrace this shift with the four-way test. And let's talk about how we're going to do that. So, who knows the first step in the four-way test? I know you guys know this. Is it the truth? Exactly. So, this is Ellis, this is my daughter, and this is Maybelline, this is my oldest dog, and she's my first child, right? And so, if Maybelline and Ellis told you something, you would believe what they tell you, right? You'd be like, of course it's true, these are cute, these are babies and puppies. We want to buy from them. But if this guy, if he gave your sales pitch, would you believe him? By the way, this is the guy that stands in front of the snake-headed woman at the carnival. So you don't believe him. And if your sales pitch and your marketing is not honest enough and transparent enough that this dude could tell you it and you would believe it, then you're probably not telling the whole truth yet. Okay, so test number 2. What's number 2?
Fair.
Is it fair? Exactly. So, I'm going to use cars as an example. Does anybody here sell cars? Okay, good. I'm not going to offend anybody then. Okay, so what we have up here is a lovely Ford Fusion, right? And then we've got the Toyota Camry. So, if you come to a car lot and they only have Ford Fusions on the lot, they're like, hey, you should buy a Ford Fusion. It's awesome. Let me tell you why it's awesome. Let me tell you why your family's going to love it. Now, if you're truly going to be fair to all those involved, you would be asking yourself, is the Ford Fusion the right car for this family? Not buy this Ford Fusion because it's on my lot, because it's all I have to offer. Because that's not how you're actually going to build rapport with this person and make them trust you. So give them everything. Give it all. Like, let's actually, if they're considering I'm going to buy a Camry or I'm going to buy a Ford Fusion, they're going to have gone out and they're going to have researched full cars, right, at this point. So why don't we give them that information? Like, compare the two. Don't be afraid, because you know in your heart that they're going to buy the thing that's right for them. And if you can't help them buy the thing that's right for them, then you're probably not in the right sales business. So, making sure that you tell them the whole story. Toyota versus Ford, it's all good. They're awesome. Whichever one's right. And then give the people what they really need to make the decision. All the information on the whole. Because literally 57% of the sales process, as I was talking earlier, the people have made their decision before they ever came to you anyway. So why don't you be the thought leader that goes out and tells people what they need to know? Okay, so test number 3. What's test number 3?
Goodwill.
Goodwill. Okay, so everybody has seen this before, right? What is this thing? It's a sales funnel, right? So we've ever done sales before, we've all seen this sales funnel. So I challenge us to stop thinking about it like a sales funnel and start thinking about it like a sales hourglass. So this is literally a cultural shift within your organization that's taking you from hunting to farming. Because the thought is, let's go back to the car scenario, right? So the family came in and they were going to buy a car, and I just said, I helped them decide that the Ford Fusion was not the right car for them. And I don't sell Camrys. So they went to the other lot across the street and they bought a Camry. But the next time that they hear that somebody wants to buy a Ford Fusion, they're going to tell them to come buy it from me. I know they will, because even though that one car would have made me money, the promoter, that super fan, the person that's going to tell their friends about what an awesome, honest human being I am, that is way more resourceful to my company. You win so much more by just being honest with people, right? Okay, so test number 4.
Beneficial for all.
Beneficial for all. Exactly. All right, so yes, you'll make a profit, but if you're selling something that you honestly believe in, then you're actually benefiting the people that you're working with too, so it's a win-win for everybody, right? And if you put them in the wrong car, that stinks, you shouldn't do that. Okay. And then the internet, believe it or not, is completely unforgiving, right? Stuff is out there forever. So if you're messing with people and you're not doing right by your clients or customers or whatever you call them in your industry, then people are going to know. And I want to show you like an experiment that I did this morning, because this is kind of crazy, right? All right, so this morning my husband's driving to work and he's like, oh my gosh, Monica, I just saw the funniest thing. And I was like, what is it? And he said, this fence has been down for over 3 weeks, and every day I drive past it on the way to work. And finally, this person got ticked, and they put up this sign on their fence, and it says, my fence is still broken because State Farm is not a good neighbor. And I was like, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity for me to share with people why you should be a good neighbor, right? So I posted this 2 hours before all these comments were made. So 8 people had already liked this, and 2 people had commented on it, and 3 people, had reposted it to their walls. So think about how many people saw this picture about how State Farm is not a good neighbor within 2 hours this morning, right? So that's kind of impactful, right? So it'd be nice. So I thought, I'm going to do this guy a favor, and I'm going to have a tweet. I'm going to tweet to State Farm. So I said, at State Farm, just so you know, this dude wants his rent fixed. And State Farm, within 15 minutes of my tweet, had tweeted back to me and been like, they were like, we're working on it. We're sorry. So I thought that was pretty awesome of State Farm to be that with it and that on top of it. Although this dude's having a bad experience and it is frustrating to him, they're really trying. But that's how viral things can be now, right? Okay, so I want to test the 4-way test against some goals. That way we can see the 4-way test in action in comparison to these business goals that I hear people come to me with every single day. So people come to me every day and they're like, I want to increase traffic to my website. And I'm like, that is not a good 4-way test goal. That is an outcome. It is not a goal. And so I asked my staff to sit down with the 4-way test yesterday, and we all evaluated these goals against the 4-way test. And we decided that this one does not pass. And it doesn't pass because it is completely self-centered. I just want more people to come to my website. Now, we gave them a half point on truth because we weren't sure exactly what they were going to do to increase traffic, and they could have done something nice. But ultimately, this is an outcome, it's not a goal. Okay, so an average goal. We thought that this would be a good average goal. So I want to share resources that attract young home buyers to my website. We thought this is average, right? And it sort of passes. But the reason it doesn't is because we don't know what those resources are, and we don't know from what place this person is sharing this information. We don't know if they're doing it to benefit only themselves or if they're actually trying to give resources to people that they need. It might be one-sided. And so the final goal that my staff and I all wrote together, and this was kind of fun, was that we want to share unbiased resources for young couples buying their first home so they will feel empowered, comfortable, and supported throughout the home buying process. And this one meets the 4-way test. Now, it's not a SMART goal. I'm sorry, because it's not time-bound. But and it meets it because it is the truth. We're going to share unbiased resources. And it is fair to all concerned. Because these resources are unbiased, we're going to give them everything that they need to make a buying decision. And we are going to build goodwill and better friendships because we're going to help them, we're going to empower them, we're going to make them feel comfortable and supported throughout their home buying process. And it is beneficial to all concerned because I, the realtor, by displaying these resources to these lovely young couples buying their first home, which is really scary, by the way, they might call me because I may have actually built enough goodwill with them that they're going to do business with me simply because I'm a really nice person. how it impacts Columbia businesses. And I feel like the people that I work with every day, and having grown up in this community and done business in this community my whole professional career, which is, I mean, not nearly as long as your professional career, so I don't know nearly as much as you do. But I'm not telling you anything today that you haven't already heard. You guys know this, and this is the way people in Columbia already do business. We already take care of our clients. When I ask people how they get all their clients, they say referrals. And you know what that tells me? It means that we are awesome at taking care of people in this community, which is great. But the thing that I'm disappointed and the thing that I challenge everybody to do is to go out in your marketing and in your sales process and do the same thing. Take care of people from the very beginning instead of after they've already given you a check. So I challenge you to do that because we're already 3/4 of the way there. So Columbia is awesome. I graduated from Rockbridge. Okay, so today I talked about a little bit about who we are, like Tranquility and They Create, and how, you know, Travis and I were this fun dynamic duo over there, and my dad, he helps out too. Like at night, he does like all this crazy technical mojo that I have no idea even what he's talking about when he talks about it. And then we talked about the information shift and how people's and consumers' expectations are changing because of the way that they can engage with information at any given point in the buying cycle. And then we talked about backing up this buying cycle with the 4-way test and making sure that everything that we do, that we put out about our businesses, meets the 4-way test because we can. And then we tested goals against it, and we talked about how in Columbia, we're really already 3/4 of the way there. Like, we've done all of the things that make businesses extremely successful, so now we just need to take one more baby step and say, you know what, at the very beginning, I'm going to start nurturing you and taking care of you. So that's all. Any questions?
Thank you for these beautiful illustrations. To what Rotary Club do you belong?
I'm Metro.
Metro.
What's your education, and is education and marketing keeping up with the changes on the street?
No,
Yeah.
it sure doesn't. And actually, that's one of the biggest challenges right now. I got a degree in agriculture. Who knew what that was, right? And so, and I think one of the challenges that we're facing right now in the marketing industry is that the non-entry level positions, those people that would be moving up into those secondary, like early management positions, they're not ready yet because they haven't been in the workforce long enough yet to have gained those skills. And I see this because there's so many designers and so many people that apply for jobs with our company that are just not ready. And then to the public, not the public, but the university education is still, I mean, it could be 5 to 10 years behind. People come out and they have the ideas and the structure, they know how to use a program, but they don't know how to actually implement it in a way that has purpose. So that's what we work a lot with game designers on.
Monica, with that thought in mind, what type of class would you put together to solve that problem at the university?
I think that one of the reasons it hasn't been addressed yet is because it is a moving target. And I think it would be really hard, it would be time consuming as a professor to go out and retool your curriculum every single time. But I would definitely, I mean, I would not teach a web design class that doesn't include current trends. Like if it's not proper coding and it's not up to snuff, it shouldn't be taught. You know, don't teach classes that teach people how to build web pages and front pages. It's not gonna work. You know, so I think part of it is just keeping up with the trends and making sure that the curriculum changes every year.
Along those lines, what about, if you were to go back and do it again, you wanted to have this outcome, what about work study apprenticeships? I mean, how would you have learned classroom and real hands-on, I guess, or how would you like to have done it, or how would you like to have seen the people that you do have on staff that you'd like to build up, but they're not ready yet? What would prepare them better?
Internships are huge. Because the thing that when people come right out of college, they know the technical skills, but they don't know how to work yet. And especially in a creative field such as writing or designing, they have like the technical skills to do it, but they don't know how to do it with purpose yet. They got into it because they want to be creative, but then in college they take the creativity out of it, and they're like, this is how you do it. And And so then I have to teach them how to be creative again and do it every day and do it in a timely manner. So like the internships that's where it's at. Like if they get real life experience, that's where they learn.
So then people skills, where does that come in?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think your parents should teach you those.
So where do you see the future of sort of online and social marketing going? Are everyone going to always have a website, or is everyone going to be on Facebook and Twitter, or are those even going out the door eventually?
I think that all of it will be there. I think that you'll always have a website. I think that the thing that we're encouraging our clients to do now is stop looking at your website like it's a brochure. Because it's not. It's a living, breathing organism. And for you to use it in a way that it actually gets you business, you need to have good overall health online. And so that is part of having your Facebook. And maybe not everybody has to have Facebook. Not everybody has to have Twitter. Not everybody has to have a blog. But and not everybody has to have a website. If you can do business development, that's awesome. So it's like a mix of those things for your business, but I think that the whole connectivity is just going to move and grow and grow and grow and grow until the point that it's, a lot of it will be